Inside the museum are so many very interesting things, and they really do a really good job of showing all the different stories of Exeter, you know, the Roman history and the, I think even before that, and also all the people who went all around the world collecting very interesting objects. There's a cone of sugar, and there's also a pot from that was the sugar was molded from, and it is a remnant of the sort of a sugar refinery that was in Exeter previously. The reason why I think it's so interesting is because it is a remnant from the days of sort of the transatlantic slave trade, and it shows that Exeter was part of that, and also it just acknowledges that happened. So I think it's good that it's in the museum.
Hindsight's always a great thing. So if you can have that hindsight from going to the museum and looking back and saying, just standing there for a moment, just thinking about where we come from, because we're such a mechanistic modern age, we never stand still long enough to be able to see where we started and where we're from. We're just constantly going, and it just allows people to just kind of step back in time and see and be able to explore the museum, because that's what you're doing. You're exploring your past. You're finding out who you are going to become from what you were.
I've chosen St. Peter, the wooden sculpture in the local history gallery. He's been looking down on the street and seeing all the changes that's going on from 1500. I've caught up a lot in these last few years, and I've also had the chance to see the museum through children's eyes. I used to bring schools down there, and so I've lived through them, really.
First, there was lots of volcanoes erupting, blasting out. But then the volcanoes cooled, and then they stretched out, and then it made water flowing. That's how we have rivers. My favourite object was the galena, because it was sparkly and very interesting and very sharp.
Exeter is very willing to invest in the history of the city in order to to move forward and to bring that into the future. The Mosaic, which I find particularly interesting, because my brother was one of the archaeologists who was involved in finding that and reorganising it so that it could be presented in the museum.
I've chosen a small bone hair comb which dates from between 900 and 1100 and was found in Holloway Street in Exeter. Really the human quality of it, that the idea that somebody held it in their hands and used it and took a personal pride in their appearance, but at the same time it was such an everyday object.
We'd seen it before, but I didn't know much about it then, so and then I wanted to know about it, so I thought, and it was quite old, so I wanted to know about it.
I chose all the silverware because I couldn't choose one particular piece, although the one that caught my eye was the little tea caddy, the little square one. It was quite simple, and I liked the bowl as well. Coming to a museum helps us to put ourselves on the map. It helps us to make our own lives feel special, that we are a part of the history of this place, and that's why a museum is so important.